Journalists in Bamenda came out in their numbers to mourn and demand justice for their fallen colleague who was killed by gunmen on Sunday night. In this report, Julian Dambi looks at the Solidarity March and other reactions that have been streaming in following the unfortunate incident. Take a listen.
Shock and disgruntlement still hovers over the death of Bamenda-based journalist Nsah, who was shot dead by gunmen on the evening of Sunday, May 7, 2023 in Bamenda. Different organizations as well as government have reacted to the incident. In a press release from the Cameroon Association of English-Speaking Journalists, Nsah, an association the late journalist was a proud member of, they indicate, just like a viral video by separatist leader Capo Daniel admits the young and brilliant journalist was shot dead by separatist fighters, also referred to as Amber Boys, in the two restive English-speaking regions. The communique by Nsah also details the circumstances surrounding the death of Nsah. He was a hype man, a hobby he did at a bar called Don Simon near his house. Answered present to work on Sunday evening to do his hyping job as usual, but the batteries of his microphone were weak. He would then leave the bar to go get a new set with the microphone in hand. While he was out, two gunmen are said to have stormed the bar and identified themselves as separatist fighters, also known as Amber Boys. The two gunmen will then order all the occupants out of the bar, including workers of the bakery attached to the bar, at gunpoint. While returning to the bar, Nsah will bump into the gunmen, who opened fire, shooting him on the chest. He died with his microphone close to his body and before he was carried to a nearby hospital. Meantime, another communique signed by the president of the Cameroon Union of Journalists, Marion Obam, indicates the journalist was targeted by the perpetrators. Also, the senior divisional officer for Nsah had, in a press release dated May 8, 2023, indicated the act was carried out by armed terrorists and further enjoined the population to collaborate with authorities to track down the individuals responsible for Nsah's death. As a journalist, Nsah was a reporter for at least two local radio stations in Bamenda, a renowned sports contributor for several online platforms, as well as the Northwest Bureau Chief of the Advocate newspaper. Sources add Nsah was to begin work today, Tuesday, May 9, 2023, at Tarinkon Cooperative Credit Union, an orphan whose life was cut short in the most brutal of ways.
Rest in peace, journalist Nsah. The media world will miss you. Onto something else. A man accused of phone theft alongside two buyers have been apprehended and presented to the press this day in Douala. This follows an operation carried out by the Mobile Intervention Unit No. 2, Littoral Region of Cameroon, Tuesday, May 9, 2023. Nube Naivona was there. Now reports.
The prime suspects behind the recurrent phone theft in the city of Accra and environs have been apprehended following an operation carried out by the Mobile Intervention Unit No. 2 in Douala.
About 2 weeks ago, we received some complaints coming from cell phone owners who complained to us that they have quite too much loss of iPhones in their shops. So we launched an investigation. And luckily enough, one of our informants informed us that there was a suspect roaming around the Aqua neighborhood. So we went on the field and arrested this suspect by name Traore, who is a stranger. He might be from Senegal or Burkina Faso. We are not yet certain about his origin.
The suspect was apprehended alongside two supposed buyers of the stolen phones and have been presented to the press this Tuesday, the 9th of May 2023 in Bonanjo, Douala, during which it was revealed that the prime suspect is specialized in robbing high-quality phones.
From our investigation, we discovered that this guy is a specialist. He's specialized in stealing high-quality phones, Apple phones. So that's how we succeed to arrest him, and we discovered that he has been the one behind all the transactions that have been taking place in Aqua and around.
According to this phone vendor, she was robbed of 3 iPhone 11 Pro Max worth 1.5 million CFA francs on April 25, 2023.
On Tuesday, 25th of April, when I left the shop to send some phones to Limbe, to a client in Limbe. I closed the door. On coming back, I really didn't notice. It's true the door was a little bit open, but it did not call my attention. Later on, when I had to go give some phones to the technician, I noticed I wasn't seeing one of the phones, 11 Pro Max.
Going by investigations, this young man would hardly be suspected of being a thief because of how he presents himself each time he goes out for a mission. He is hardly suspected because each time he enters a shop, he presents himself as the son of an ambassador. He is always well dressed and behaves like someone who just came in. So vendors will normally feel they have a big customer, and that's how he plays with their intelligence and does away with phones. In the meantime, the suspect is in police custody, but the stolen phones are yet to be reclaimed, given that after stealing them, the suspect sells them out to unknown people.
You're welcome back. Now, what often happens when councils demolish houses is the question of the day in this report. Doli Ngandi took us to Dokolo, a former residential site around Akwa neighborhood in the Lithowa region of Cameroon. She revisited that area 1 year after demolition exercises. Her report.
It is commonplace to see demolition exercises being carried out in most urban and rural communities in Cameroon. But one aspect hardly told is what happens to the appropriated lands by the state. In this light, the case of Dikolo, a residential site around the Bali neighborhood here in Douala, is revisited, which has seen the demolition of houses by council authorities 1 year ago. With two objectives in mind: first, to understand where most of these victims are now taking refuge. And of course, it appears the memories are still fresh on their minds, as most of them do not only take refuge on the streets, but also have called out on the government for leaving waste their lands with no meaningful developments happening there, as they become new hubs for greenery and undefined garage. I have not only lost a house, but my heritage. I've lost my grandparents, my ancestors, and I have even lost the reason for my very existence. And if I say we've not lost a lot, then I'm lying. It's a general effect, and we no longer have a history. And on his part, Mr. Patrick is another victim who has not given up on fighting for the reclamation of his now lost properties. For me, it's not negotiable to abandon this land. It's important to make this clear. It's been 1 year since demolitions took place here, and you can see for yourselves the effects. It has become a forest. It's also a public toilet right behind my back. There's also a newly constructed mosque at one side of the area and a recklessly installed garage. So in all, these people are out to exploit from our lands to make money behind our backs. Amongst us, we have those who have fallen sick. Amongst us, we have those who are yet to recover from the shock. And worse still, there are children who can't continue pursuing their education. And as such, this situation is not to be tolerated.
Cette situation est intolérable.
It was the same month last year that these persons were forcefully evacuated from what they called their homes and lands. But for these residents, he has decided to remain a Spartan despite all odds, and this is his reason for not leaving this area. I've stayed here because I have nowhere else to go. After 47 years and people just come in 1 day to drive you out of your own home, with what means do they want us to relocate? That's the reason why I'm still here. It's been 1 year after this demolition exercise took place here. The people of Dikolo in Bali are still enraged.
From the Lithowa region, let's again take you to the northwest region of Cameroon, where one person has lost his life and another under medical care after their bike fell off the bridge over River Nguma in Boom subdivision, below the division of the northwest region of Cameroon. Eli Nsah completes the story.
Jesus.
The people of Sonka, a community in Boom subdivision,
Boyo Division of the Northwest Region of Cameroon are in tears after losing one of their sons to a tragic incident that occurred on Monday, May 8, 2023 in the locality. 2 young men on a motorcycle tumbled into the Nguma River, where one was rescued after members of the community swiftly dived into the river immediately after the accident occurred. Meanwhile, the second didn't have the chance to be rescued as his body would only be found 1 hour after an intensive search.
Breaking news. River Nguma don't do am again. This early morning, Monday, 8th of May, 2023. 2 young people.
It is worth mentioning that this particular breach has claimed the lives of many in Boom Subdivision, being one of the major bridges linking Lower Boom, the divisional headquarters of Boom Subdivision, to Upper Boom. Note here that the bridge over River Nguma has been a nightmare to the entire Boom community in recent years, calling on the powers that be to rehabilitate the bridge to prevent such occurrences in the future.
Now, the lady who abandoned her 8-day-old baby in Queen, a neighborhood in Bamenda 3 subdivision of the Northwest region, and later fled to Mamfe, that's Manyo division of the Southwest region, has been apprehended by elements of the National Gendarmerie. The 23-year-old lady is currently under custody in Mamfe, Manyo division, as Catherine Ekong with us in this report.
Following recent updates on Mefeke Opera, the 23-year-old lady who fled Bamenda to Mamfe after abandoning her baby is now under the custody of Mamfe Public Security. The Commissioner, Mr. Kabai Eric, has this to say.
It is a crime, a big crime. So it's not, they must not put inside the head that it is a small thing.
Meanwhile, the elder sister of Mefeke Opera, who was also present at the station, says she is happy that despite everything, her sister has accepted to be guilty of the allegations labeled on her.
Thank God she has accepted that she actually is the one who did it, and she has given us her reasons. So we are trying our best together with the commissioner here to see how to get her out so that we take her there to Bamenda. So I myself am going to accompany her to Bamenda to see how to do.
The lady, who already has 2 kids before this, says she abandoned the baby at his father's compound because he refused assuming his responsibilities.
It's my baby. I dropped the baby at the father's compound because I wanted him to take responsibility, because since I was pregnant till when I gave birth, he didn't take responsibility of anything. Even while I was with him, he kept brutalizing me all the time, raising his hands on me. That made us to separate. Until then, he hasn't taken responsibility. Neither has his family showed any concern to it. That's why I was frustrated, and I didn't know what to do. I had to go with the baby to the father's compound.
She equally admits her mistake, asks for forgiveness, and pleads to have her baby back, saying she has learned from her mistake.
I want to apologize. It's not like I wanted to kill the baby. I didn't mean I wanted to kill the baby. I would have dropped the baby somewhere else, not in the father's compound. But even though I know what I did was wrong, I really want to apologize, that I'm sorry, beg for forgiveness, that I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do it. I have regrets now why I did it, but it's just out of frustration that I did it, and depression.
Note that the over 9-day-old baby was found at about 6 a.m. on Thursday, April 4, 2023 in Queen, a neighborhood in Bamenda, with a handwritten letter by the mother explaining that lack of finance pushed her to commit the act. The baby was taken to the Queen Integrated Health Center after the incident for proper care.
Now, popular journalist Patrick Sepak was freed after spending few hours at the Mvan Gendarmerie unit in Yaoundé. Tracked alongside other colleagues, Sepak was advised by gendarmes to mend his relationship with ministers from the East region, whom they have been so critical of in their East Awareness campaign. Staffman Bo Elvis completes the story of Primus.
Patrick Sepak is a popular Pan-African journalist and son of the soil from the East region, who was arrested over the weekend and later released under unclear circumstances.
And they were asking us to leave our ministers because the complaint, what was told to me by the commandant of that, the manager of that gendarmerie, is that I insulted the head of state, his wife and his children. I asked him, where did you take that information? I know that we are trying to sensitize in our region, the East region, within the framework of the work of Evade the Lest, the population to know exactly what is our situation. The East must not remain aside.
If not of interventions left and right, things would have been rough for Patrick Sapak.
Yeah. So I was freed at 2 a.m. with my brother, Roger Santal-Tulé, because there was an intervention. Maybe there were many interventions coming from the presidency to say, Patrick Sapak, what are you, for what reason whatsoever are you keeping him?
Shanta Roger Chulu, another journalist who runs Réveil de l'Est with Sapak, keeps crying out about the need to develop the East region of Cameroon.
Utiliser le mercure comme on l'utilise avec exagération à l'Est, rien ne pousse plus.
The exaggerated use of mercury in the East has affected soil fertility. Can you imagine that something like Bobolo costs 500 francs in the East?
Le désert à l'Est. Eh bien, qui a donné ces permis? Ce sont des ministres de l'Est de la République.
The two journalists leading a group of over 300 sons and daughters from the East region of Cameroon are not ready to give up about their demands for the recognition of one of Cameroon's richest regions.
The women wing of the Guzang Cultural and Development Association USA branch has put smiles on the faces of some young girls in Guzang, Momo division of the Northwest region who stopped school as a result of this crisis. This they did through the donation of some styling items and cash at the esplanade of the Guzang's Fonds Palace. Get details right ahead. As part of measures to promote vocational training in Guzang Momo division of the Northwest region, the women wing of the Guzang Cultural and Development Association USA branch has reached out to some 7 young girls who dropped out of school as a result of the ongoing crisis. These girls, whose desire to continue their education was cut short as a result of the crisis, decided to learn a trade. To boost their morale, the women wing of the Guzang Cultural and Development Association has handed some items to them.
We are so happy for the Gouda USA women for what they've done to our children. And we pray that you people should stay well and continue to help those at home. So thanks very much.
The gift, comprising of 2 sewing machines, 5 hair dryers, and an envelope of 30,000 francs CFA, were handed to these girls at the esplanade of the Guzang's Fonds Palace to help improve on their living standards. The representative of the Guzang Cultural and Development Association, Bato Sama Eugene, promised to ensure the young girls make good use of the gift handed them.
On behalf of the Guzang Cultural and Development Association, we want to thank the Gouda USA women for the marvelous job they have done for our girls in the village. These are children who have dropped out of school, and they have told them that giving fish to a child is not very important, but teaching the child how to fish is the best thing. And that is what the women of Guzang who are in the USA have done to our children at home, and we want to be very thankful to them.
Beneficiaries say the gift from the association is quite timely and would go a long way to assist them.
I want to use this opportunity to thank the Buddha women in the USA for what they have done for us, and want to promise them that we will do our best to make them happy.
The project, worth over 1.2 million francs CFA, has as main idea to fight poverty in a region plagued by economic hardship and insecurity. As the saying goes, teach a child how to fish rather than give them this fish on a daily. This is exactly what the women wing of the Guzang Cultural and Development Association has done. Now, the 3rd General Assembly meeting of Rainbow Cooperative Credit Union held over the weekend in Bamenda with affiliate members adopting Rainbow Camp 2022 annual report. Despite the Terrence Rainbow, the camp board remains optimistic, as our Northwest correspondent Charles gave us thousands.
The third annual General Assembly meeting of Rainbow Cooperative Credit Union Limited, Rainbow Cam, at the Ayaba Hotel, Bamenda, May 6, 2023, chaired by its board president's Majesty for Angwafo the Fourth, that brought delegates, braving all odds, attend the AGM. The board president's Majesty for Angwafo the Fourth remind the year had been challenging.
The first challenge has been from Rainbow Cam to mobilize resources in the order to make controls. It's very demanding, financially demanding, and as a lending institution, we are meeting all the challenges. One other challenge is, as I earlier said, the non-compliance of the affiliates. Most often at times, the board does not know its role, and most of the involved management at times in discussing challenges that faces them.
With the microfinance sector in general and the network in particular affected as the socio-political crisis, health pandemic and insecurity remain deterrents to the business environment, Rainbow Cam board remain optimistic they are building stride and going to conquer the market. The network, with a balance sheet of 658,433,527 francs FCFA as at December 2022 in assets and liabilities, had 21 affiliates in 2021 to 34 affiliates as at December 2022 and 13 new affiliates knocking at Rainbow Cam doors.
We are practicing financial inclusion. We want everybody to be included in increasing wealth so that at the end of the day, we have a stronger and wealthier Cameroon.
The AGM, upon presenting the technical field management reports took marketing activities of Rainbow Cam to the satisfaction of the General Assembly, members adopt the 2022 Management Report, Supervisory Report, 2022 Financial Statement, Budgetary Review for 2022, Proposed Budget for 2023, and 2022 External Audit Report. Resolved to dismiss some affiliates who've exercised bad faith or insubordination and to legally follow the institution recover all financial credits. With motto creation of wealth for its members, Rainbow Cam for the year 2023 envisaged after a successful implementation of approved 2022 projects will in 2023 expand project department and develop an app to manage agricultural finance, my effort project within the network.
Locate where you can get seeds at a cheaper rate and at proximity. So a farmer in Bamenda, for instance, who wants tomato seeds can go on the app and type that you want tomato seeds. They will give you the seed providers around your locality, and there are various rates how much they are selling these seeds. You can make the choice based on proximity and price.
Get affiliates computerized, follow up the deployment of SENEF platforms within its affiliates, restructure the head office and register with Main Microfinance African Institution Network.
To Health, the month of May is observed as Clean Air Awareness Month, a campaign which seeks to raise awareness about the relationship between clean air and respiratory health. Bukengo Worthy with details.
Stroke, asthma, cardiovascular diseases, bronchitis, and more are some respiratory conditions that comes to mind when one talks about air pollution. However, according to the World Health Organization, these diseases triggered and borne by air pollution goes way beyond the damage on one's lungs as it affects one's overall health.
These toxic particles will come to our lungs, and from there through the bloodstream will reach our cardiovascular system and then be responsible for ischemic heart disease, for neurological disorders, for stroke, for neurological problems as well in general, and reproductive system issues.
With an estimated 7 million deaths recorded yearly, air pollution, according to the World Health Organization Climate Change and Health Director, is a public health emergency.
When you have more than 7 million premature deaths every year, every single year, associated with exposure to air pollution, I'm sure that everybody agrees that this is a major public health issue. Actually, 9 every 10 people around the world, particularly those living in cities, are breathing air that is not consistent with what WHO consider the good standards according to our air quality guidelines for breathing and still be healthy.
Meanwhile, in Cameroon, data from the United Nations Environment Programme say car exhaust, wood burning, garbage burning, indoor cooking with coals and stove, petrochemical plants and more are some major sources of air pollution in the country, especially in its political and economic capital, where air pollution accounts for approximately 13,000 maternal premature deaths, 200 new cancer cases, and an estimated 3 million deaths annually in Yaoundé and Douala, respectively.
Sons and daughters of Modele village in Menchum Division Northwest region of Cameroon have decided to use sports as a means of bringing themselves together. One of these sporting activities took place in Tole Southwest region of Cameroon, as you tell us, Emanuela C.
Sports, many say, is a unifying factor in a community. This activity has brought sons and daughters of Modele together as they share laughter and dance in handball and football in Tole. A strategy, they say, is one to bring all of them together under one canopy.
This march is directed as the Modele Youth Tour to put all the youths from Modele to become one. Now, we see that sporting activities will give a short way for us to meet one another. Because of the crisis, all the Modelians were scattered because of this crisis. So we're using the sports to make sure that we meet the various youths in their areas. Then we create a concrete branches.
An idea that the leader of the Modeles in Tole agrees.
What advice can I give to them is that they should gather themselves so that they live with one man. And let us see how.
With 15 groups already created and Tole being the most recent, the youth of Modele, a village in Menchum Division of the Northwest region, aims at promoting employment, literacy and positive information sharing. At the end of these competitions, they hope to end with an all Modele youth come together, a thrive towards development back home.
Now, Andre Onana has been rated the UEFA Champions League best goalkeeper for his impressive performance so far. In this report, a young Bisong Magdala equally talks about the performances of other Cameroonians in